Do you know that feeling of getting to the end of the year, and instead of feeling excitement, you might feel pressure to hurry up and figure everything out for next year? Maybe even you've worked really hard, you've stayed committed, and you feel like you've done the right things. You've been doing it, like you've been hustling. Yet the results are not matching your effort, and you feel like, if you're like just being honest, you didn't you aren't where you want to be at the end of this year. Listen, I am so excited to have this podcast, share this podcast episode with you, because I want you to not just wrap up this year strong, but how you wrap up this year is really going to determine why 2026 is going to be different. Hello, my friend. Welcome to the Worthy Woman podcast. Okay, I'm still getting over that, like that new name. I love it so much. I've heard from you guys. You love it so much too. And this is episode number 154. And the title of this is Stop Starting Over, the year in review that helps you lead yourself better in 2026. Okay. The mission of this podcast is to equip faith-fueled women, high-capacity women, I'm talking to you actually, to equip you with the right mindsets, the right strategies, the right habits that you need to create real transformation in your life, also in your leadership, in your purpose. This podcast exists to help you close gaps that keep you stuck so you can walk worthy of your calling. That's my mission. I want you to walk worthy of your calling, and I want you to do it with clarity. I want you to do it with confidence, and I want you to do it with momentum. And sometimes when we get to the end of the year and we start like being honest, sometimes we can go to a place of frenzy and just go, okay, well, I've been doing this and this and this. Okay, so next year needs to look like this. But what I do know is that unless you ask yourself some tough questions, you're headed for the same exact year that you've had this year, next year. And so here's the thing. How do you review your year in a way that improves your life and improves your leadership instead of repeating the same cycles? Because that is exactly what we are in for unless we do some of this work that I'm going to share with you in this episode. All right. First of all, I want to share with you a funny story that happened this summer. Randy and I had this opportunity to go, honestly, back to Ireland. And it was such a treat. It's such a treasure. And if you've never been to Ireland, oh my gosh, it is absolutely amazing. All right. When we flew over, and if you've ever flown internationally, usually it's an overnight flight. You're exhausted when you get there. There's the whole time change, and there's all the things that you're just literally exhausted. But what they tell you when you travel, whoever they is, the proverbial they, right? They say, do not go to sleep. And immediately, like, there's some things that you can do, but stay awake so you can go to sleep at whatever new time zone you are, so you can help to start to reset your circadian rhythm. So we arrive into Dublin. The sun was rising, and we were able to catch our train. We took a train from Dublin over to Galway. And by the way, it was so beautiful. Galway was so much fun. I mean, Dublin's amazing, but Galway's absolutely different. So it was our first time there. So we took a train to Galway. We were the first ones on the train because I think we got that very, very, very first ride over. And of course, you know how a train does, if you've never been on one, it stops at each stop and it lets new people on or people off. So we started in Dublin and took it all the way to Galway. And that's actually where the train station ended, where it started and where it stopped. So we were on there the whole time. It stopped a whole bunch of times. We were deliriously exhausted. But the funniest thing happened on this train ride. So we're there trying to look at the pretty countryside, trying to stay awake, quite frankly. I wasn't able to get a cup of coffee. I really needed that cup of coffee. And every time that the train stopped, this thick Irish accent came out over the intercom. Please mind the gap. And I don't know why. I think part of it is I was so delirious. But after you hear it like 25 times, every time, Randy and I are now just like being stupid and saying it in that Irish accent, please mind the gap, every single time. And anyway, I think you had to be there. Actually, as I'm saying the story, it's not as funny now as it was then. But it left with this really great lesson. As I started to think about, please mind the gap, I realized how interesting mind the gap is. Mind is this place of being mindful. It's this place of conscious thought processes. And in episode 152, I shared 4 gaps with you that are keeping you stuck from hitting that next level in your life. So great episode. Go listen to episode 152 for 4 gaps that you have to close to reach and achieve your potential. But today, I want to share with you some thought-provoking questions for you to to mind the gap even deeper. Okay, so here's the thing. Probably if you're listening to this, you already understand New Year's resolutions don't work. Here's an interesting fact. By the second Friday in January, over 80% of New Year's resolutions have already failed. That day even has a name. It's called Quitter's Day. Here's the thing. The issue's not motivation. It's that most women, most people actually don't sit and review the year previous, the behavior, the action, for them to get into the right actions for the next year. New Year's resolutions are not going to help you achieve your goals. Let me just say that right there. So you're going to want to listen to this episode if you want 2026 to feel different. Not just busier, if you want actual change in your life. Now, I'm so passionate about you having a proper year in review. I want to walk you through this together, but I want you to know I have created a beautiful workbook with these exact review questions, and that I want to give it to you for free. So if you're driving right now, if you're listening to this while you're driving or whatever, this worksheet will be available through the end of 2025. You can go to amyramsey.com/leadership and you can work right alongside this. I recommend, honestly, taking some time and take a look at these questions. You might want to listen to this episode a couple of times and sink into an honest place that will help you move forward. So here's the thing. If this past year, now be honest, I just want you to, before I even start sharing all of the things that I'm about to share, before I do, what I want you to do is do me a solid. If you could hold out your pinky, let's pinky pal promise that you'll be honest with these assessments. And number 2 is you're not going to be feeling condemned by it. I work with so many women, and sometimes we'll do assessments or reviews, and the first thing is, oh my gosh, here I am. I can't even change. I suck. And there's this beat up cycle that you can go into, I can go into. That is the voice of the enemy. Okay, Jesus comes to give you life and life to the full. The enemy comes to kill, steal, and destroy. So if you feel any shame or condemnation, I want you to recognize it and disrupt that pattern of thinking. That is not for you. That is from the enemy of your soul, who, by the way, let me just bring this big spiritual, does not want you to move forward. Hello? He does not want you to break through. He doesn't want you to reach the abundant life, but Jesus does. Jesus wants you to have a life that is abundant, that is thriving, that is you unleashing the gifts and the potential to the world, because you're the only one that can do it. That feeling that you're made for more is for real, and it is good. So please take this opportunity, download that free workbook that I've got for you. And here's the thing. when you think about the year, what you may have been is feeling like you've been busy, productive, but you don't feel fulfilled. Or you might feel behind even despite working your tail off. And probably you can look at the end of this year right now and realize, hey, you've been repeating the same patterns. You didn't move the needle. You didn't break free from that. And I don't know about you. I can raise my hand to this. Maybe you can too. You feel stretched thin and, man, a little tired. Maybe you feel scattered. And this is going to bring so much clarity for you, especially if you want alignment between your faith. Like that is first for you. You want alignment in your life. You want congruency with your faith, with your life, and where you're going. And here's the thing, and you want that with your leadership. And I know some of you are listening and you're like, Amy, no, I'm not a leader. Here's the thing. Yeah, you are. Yes, you are. If you are in Christ, you're an ambassador, which means you are a leader, which means you are an influencer for Jesus. Okay? So you are a leader. So how you lead, how you live your life really, really matters. Because I know if you're listening to this, you want to hear, well done, good and faithful steward. So this is important that we get this right. Now, at the end of this episode, you will be really clear on how to conduct a proper year-end review. You will understand how the gaps form when you don't evaluate. You will understand how to please mind the gap. And I'm going to walk you through these year-end review questions, and they're going to be connected to your leadership and also your habits. We're also going to talk about support and structure and how to accelerate your results for 2026. There are 6 essential year-end evaluations that I want you to consider. We're going to evaluate success, misses, patterns, relationships, priorities, and yourself. So again, Pinky Pal, honest assessment, no condemnation, but really think about these questions that I'm going to ask you. Because here's the thing, for you to grow, you have to understand where your gap is. Growth does not start with excuses. We have to stop allowing our excuses to be valid. What do they say? That excuses are like armpits. Everybody has 2 of them and they stink. All right. So when you take a clear look at your past year, you'll actually gain power and greater clarity and accuracy and purpose. So these questions are here to help you understand what worked, what didn't work, what you need to shift to step into your new season. All right. So success leaves clues. And the first success that I want you to consider is evaluate your successes. Here's the thing. Most leaders, high capacity, high achieving, high performing women like yourself, what we do is we actually roll through this so quickly. We actually don't stop and sink into our where did we have some wins? In fact, I went on a walk this morning and just kind of thinking through what I wanted to share on this podcast. I was thinking to myself of some wins that I didn't even think about. I've wanted to be able to clear my schedule and have more margin in my schedule so I can just be available for my people and where God wants me. Previously, I have been so busy that I might make time, but it's like I keep adding things onto my schedule. And so I'm the one that ends up at the end of the day absolutely exhausted, but also feeling unfulfilled because I feel like I'm missing part of where God wants me. And this year, as I was on my walk, I was like, oh, you know what? This year, the Lord really spoke to my heart that He wanted me to mentor a precious 9-year-old girl and be available to her and pick her up from school once a week and spend time with her. And He's given me a couple of other real clear assignments like that. And it's like, oh, wow, you know what? I have cleared space for that. That's actually success for me. And it feels very fulfilling. I'm so grateful that that happened, but I didn't really think about it. Even after I wrote this worksheet, hadn't even thought about that. And so just that ability to like feel like I'm more discerning with my time and more obedient because I'm listening to God and I want to please him and I want to be where he wants me to be. Right? So here's a couple of things. What made this area of your life grow this year? I want you to think past this is what the success was. Why? Think about the process in place. Think about the spiritual growth, the whatever the growth is, maybe the skill that you learned. I want you to think about what shift that sparked that new momentum. For me personally, when I start to think about that was I really want to live my life and be fruitful, but I want to do it God's way. I don't want to just be working all the time. And I know a lot of, if you're listening to this, you can probably relate with that. Like, yeah, like I have past patterns of workaholism because I love my work so much. However, at the end of the day, I want a balanced life. And then I want you to think about what successes are you most proud of? And do you understand the reasons behind them? Okay, we're moving on. Number 2, you need to evaluate your misses. Growth starts when we stop defending our weaknesses and we start confronting them. One of the greatest things about being a coach, one of the things that I love about being a coach, and when you actually hire a coach to work with you, and let me just put a shameless plug right now. I'm a faith-fueled high-performance coach. I have over 25 years of experience, and I help high-capacity women gain clarity. And one of my favorite things I've learned to do is help them activate the high-performance habits, the science of that, so they can accelerate life and leadership goals. I serve women who are called, they're capable, and they're committed, but they're tired of being busy, but not seeing the results that they know they're capable of creating, or even like just being busy or not fulfilled in that what they're setting out to do. That's me. Is that you? I know that we want, as women of faith, we want that alignment with our faith in God. And to do that, we have to have the right habits in place. And so that's my calling, is to help you walk worthy of your calling and give you the right systems, the right tools, the right strategies that you need so you can be loosed, baby, so you can go forth. And I know that this is heavy, it's like not heavy, but it's like this big, for me, it's like a burden and a responsibility. It's not bad, it's good, because I want to do this life well. I want to share with you real quick before we even go into evaluating your misses, that as you're going through this, I want you to think about this openly and honestly. And one of the greatest things that you can have to help you with this is to have a coach in your corner who helps you to evaluate these things, but also confront them. Someone who will actually hold you accountable. It's a powerful thing. Okay, so when you evaluate your misses, what I want you to think about is, what did you overlook this year? Where did you say you would follow through and you did not? I want you to think about that in your spiritual life, in your health and wellness. I want you to think about that with your relationships. What did you set out at the beginning of 2025 and say that you really wanted? Like maybe you set an intention. Listen, you can set intentions all day long, and I think you should. But if you set an intention one time and you don't revisit that intention, that is wishful thinking. That intention is not coming forth for you. There's something really powerful when we set the intention, but then we write it down. We make it clear that Habakkuk, I can't say that word, Habakkuk 2:2. You gotta do more than just set the intention. What area of your life needs improving now? I want you to think about the gaps. Mind the gap. And I want you to think about this. This is an important question. How have you avoided addressing them? This is so important that you consider this. Okay, third, we're going to evaluate patterns. I want you to think about Which habits or routines helped you create real progress? Honor it. It could be simple things. Like I just shared with you earlier, I've created more margin in my schedule. And the way that so I sat and thought about that. I'm like, because this is a repeated thing. This is that place where I haven't had success from year to year. It has been slowly a progress, but I haven't felt like I've had success. And this year I feel like, hey, I have success in this area. And I had to think to myself, and here's the next question here is, what repeated behaviors held me back and created the results that I didn't want? I didn't have enough margin and I didn't prioritize it. If I'm just giving the excuses out here, I didn't understand like how to prioritize that. I didn't understand how to align my schedule. I was out of alignment. And then therefore my actions were a million. I had a million actions, which left me really exhausted. And it honestly left me feeling anxious when it came to serving in different capacities. Like, oh my gosh, like I'm so exhausted. I don't have the bandwidth. Like I just felt overwhelmed because I was overcommitted. One of the things that I want to help you with, and I've got the Worthy Woman 90-day high performance planner. It's not available for public release yet. It's in formatting. It's a whole process. But what I want you to know is that I am accepting new clients right now. Actually, women are already raising their hand. They're already joining me in a coaching container, and it's called Accelerate Her. Here's the thing. Clarity alone is not enough to get you to the next level. You're going to have clarity after this podcast. I do want you to download this worksheet. But your daily choices create your destiny. And what can be so powerful to help you get to that next level is the structure, is coaching, and is accountability to do it with a group, to do it where it's fun, to do it where you know that somebody else knows what you said you were going to do. This is why I created Accelerate Her. Accelerate Her is a 90-day faith-fueled, listen here, science-supported. We're going to break down the science of how you achieve goals. Coaching container. It's for high-capacity women who are ready to move forward and hit that next level of their potential. And you don't want to do it alone. This is where clarity turns into consistency, and consistency will turn into momentum. So enrollment is open right now with a very special rate. You can go to amyramsey.com/90 days. And I highly encourage you. Listen, this program, I did a beta test 2 times through last year. The same program I'm offering with more support, more structure, more tools, more resources. In fact, you'll get a preliminary copy of the 90-day planner directly to you before it's released to the public. That will come along with it. It's a whole system. I offered this year. Women paid $2,997. It is a tiny bit of that price right now. Like it's ridiculous. So I do want to encourage you, go take a look at that. And you want to jump in. It's a remarkable rate. So jump into it. amyramsey.com/90 days. There's payment plans available for that. Okay, so we're going to evaluate our misses. We're going to evaluate our successes, our misses, our patterns. And then number 4, we're going to evaluate our relationships. Listen, relationships are rich. This is what makes life beautiful. So here's the questions. Are you staying present and intentional with the people that matter most? Did you nurture the connection with your spouse or significant other, with your family, with your close relationships? Did you stay connected to them? Have you built relationships in your life that support your growth and emotional well-being? Are your social connections, do they enrich your life and keep you engaged in healthy ways? This is a crucial question right here. Are you showing up as the woman you want to be? I want you to think about that. Are you showing up when you think of your body of work in 2025? Are you showing up with love, with care, and with a positive influence? This is an area of my life I've really, really tried to work on. It's that important. And I've struggled with feeling connected sometimes in this midlife age, as roles and responsibilities change, a lot of women feel really lonely and kind of struggle in this. You're not alone if you feel that way. I want you to know that. I want you to feel, I don't want you to feel isolated in that. But we, in this day and age, women feel more isolated than ever. And so this is really important. I want you to evaluate those relationships with honesty. All right, number 5, evaluate your priorities. Did my daily and weekly choices truly reflect what I say matters most in my life, health, spirit, and relationships? Bam, ouch. Come on now, like, hello, I'm stepping on my toes. That's the question that helped me to really make that breakthrough last year, to go, okay, this is not in alignment. Honestly, this is why I wrote and started the Accelerate Her program and wrote the Worthy Woman 90-Day High Performance Planner, because every single day I'm asking you in that planner, you're going to get in alignment with your assignment, in alignment with what God's calling you to do. You're going to learn how to create top 3 priorities every day that's in congruency with an overall goal, with an overall 90-day structure, and a 30, 60, 90 days. Like, this is a whole system that I had to learn. Now, systems are my superpower. So I kind of turned my brain inside out, upside down to create this thing. Let me tell you, it was the hardest thing I've done. I don't know if it was definitely the hardest thing I did this year. It was so hard. But it's my prayer that this is a tool and a resource that changes lives, women's lives, and gets them going. Because I know that in this day, in this age, God wants us to stop wasting time. The enemy, listen, if you're distracted, the enemy's not going to waste time on you. But when you start pursuing that calling on your life, when you start pursuing the calling of God on your life and moving forward and activated in that, oh, now that's a whole nother story. But learning how to identify your priorities each day and have the habits to align with that is everything. So evaluate your priorities. Listen, I can tell so much about you. When I work with my clients one-on-one, or like even in a group, I can know so much about your life. I need to see 3 things. Number 1, I want to see your checkbook. Number 2, give me your phone. This is probably the most telling thing. Let me see your phone and where you're spending time on your phone. When we can see those 2 things, it is huge to know how you are living your life, right? There's some accountability right there. Here's just a few other questions. And again, download this whole guide. There's more questions here, but just thoughtful questions. Is where did I choose progress, and where did I allow distractions to win? I want you to think about the weekly habits that you have to support a healthier life. I want you to think about, what did you give your time and energy to that didn't align with who you want to be? Oh my gosh. Have you made progress on your scrolling? Ouch. Stepping on toes. I'm stepping on my toes too. Like, right. This is how we can grow. Listen, what you don't confront, you won't change. And that's one of the most powerful things about the work that I do in my coaching containers and with my one-on-ones, is that a coach, here's how I say it. I am here to champion you. I am hardwired as an encourager. I love it. And I don't have to think to encourage people. I love it. It lights me up. So I'm here to champion you. I'm also here to challenge you, to help you understand these gaps in your life so you can move forward and confront them head on. Okay, so let's move on. Lastly is evaluate yourself. Leadership, self-leadership, this is the hardest one. Leaders are not honest. Often they're not honest. Let me just tell you, when you're doing this evaluation, I want you to say to yourself, I'm probably not being honest. In fact, it's interesting. When I used to have a program, and I would teach through just nutrition and some different things like that. And did you know that, like, if you count your macros, you are probably, it's proven, it's like 90% don't really count all of the calories and all of the macros and all of the food that's eaten. And so, like, when I am counting macros, I say to myself, you're not being honest. You're not being honest. Go ahead and be honest. Go ahead and be honest. So I can hold myself at a higher account. And I find that I'm not as honest as I should be. Like, I fall into that category. I fall into that statistic. So I want you to be super honest here. Where are you making excuses instead of progress? What are you avoiding because it's uncomfortable or it's emotional? When we start to understand, your brain wants you in your stuck self. It does not want you thriving and coming out. Like God wants you thriving and living in your true self the way that He made you. Your brain think about this, is wired to conserve energy, to seek pleasure, and to keep you safe. So that's the way the brain works with you. And we live in a day and age where there is way too much of that going on. And because it feels normal doesn't mean that that's the right thing for you. I want you to think about, what are some of the habits that you want to start or restart? And then here's the last question that I want to share with you in this evaluation. And it's food for thought after you go through this. If you are going to be 10 times more successful in 2026, what habits do you need to have in your life? One of my joys is to teach the science of the high performance habits. It's these habits, and I'm calling them the faith-fueled high performance habits. There's 6 of them. These are unlocks in your life. These are levers that will give you that freedom. This is the reason why I've been able to achieve the successes that I've had, because I've worked on mastery level of these habits. And this is the exact thing that I will be teaching in the 90-day Accelerate Her. I want you to have mastery level over this. Here's the thing. You already have the capacity, and the potential is inside you. It's the way God made you. But here's the question, is whether you're willing to lead yourself differently in the next season. Accelerate Her is not another program that you just consume. You don't need more information. You have plenty of information. You need the right information, but you need a container to execute. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. So if you're ready to walk worthy of that calling and build real momentum in 2026, the lowest price for this is right now. You can join us at amyramsey.com/90 days. Like I said, women are already joining. They're already excited. They're already getting resources. They're getting prepared. Can you imagine going right now, like making the decision, heck yeah, I'm going to make this investment in myself. Heck yeah, I'm going to do this because I'm worthy of that. And you are worthy of that, by the way. And I'm going to skill up. I'm going to find the gaps, right? So I can move forward. Because here's the thing. You don't need more motivation. You don't. You need clarity. You need structure, and you need habits that work for you. Okay. So I hope this was helpful. Let's just real quickly review those 6 areas. You're going to evaluate successes, misses, patterns, relationships, priorities, and lastly, yourself. And so as we wrap up this episode, I want to say thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. Thank you for listening to the end. Truly, 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 you are the heartbeat behind this podcast. Ephesians 4:1 tells us to walk worthy of the calling for which we have been called. And that's what this space is about. It's about helping you rise into the woman God created you to be and to steward well this assignment He's placed on your life. So I want to just say thank you for being here. And if this episode encouraged you or gave you clarity, I would love for you to subscribe to it. Leave a review. Like, reviews are everything. And would you share it with a friend right now who needs this very conversation? It is my mission to grow this podcast, to grow this Worthy Woman mission, so more women are walking in freedom. So thank you for spending this time with me. I'm cheering for you. I believe in you. And I believe in the woman that you're becoming. And I'll see you next week on the Worthy Woman podcast. And don't forget, please mind the gap.